The stockings are hung by the chimney with care, with hopes that St. Nicholas will soon be at the Corbett Sharp House. I'm Jackie Ferris. This week on the 302, we are at Historic Odessa, checking out a celebration of a Christmas classic. And that can mean only one thing: a very merry 302 is headed your way. "'Twas the night before Christmas" comes alive at Historic Odessa. Every year they pick an amazing theme, and this year is no different. I'm joined now by Brian Miller to talk a little bit about the theme itself and how he used artifacts to kind of bring it alive for folks that come for a visit. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
You're more than welcome, and thanks so much for visiting us here in Historic Odessa.
It is our pleasure.
Yeah, that's great. So this year's theme is an account of a visit from St. Nicholas. That's the original story name that was first published in 1823. So 200 years ago, this December, is the first account that was described all about Santa and his visit. So it's really amazing here in Odessa, where I get to use the historic house. This one is at the Corbett Sharp House, which is a National Historic Landmark. And I get to use the furnishings, the artwork, all of the decorative arts, and rearrange the whole house to tell this story. And we're very fortunate this year. We have 3 lenders from a national organization, a club called the Golden Glow of Christmas Past. We have 3 lenders who have lent us hundreds of items to really decorate the house, and it's just all out Christmas this year.
Now, when you come into the Corbett Sharp House, it's always gorgeous, but especially this time of year. Talk to me a little bit about the decorations that you chose for the foyer, including the desk.
So the hall is decorated with holly and ivy. And then, since it's the night before Christmas, there are stars throughout the room. And then we have over 50 different copies of the original book that are lining the hall. And that's going to really give guests an idea of the significance of this story. And then we have Clement Clark Moore. It's as if he is writing the story to his family in 1823, right in the center hall. So we have a butler-style desk, which is very similar to the desk that he wrote the story on in New York. And then we have bell snickles and early Santas, and the whole hall is all about St. Nicholas. He's the star of the show.
And of course, there is a portrait of Mr. Moore above the desk and a signature, right?
Yes, we have an original autograph on loan to us, so we think visitors are going to love seeing that. And then I always try to give context to the story, so I think it's wonderful to be able to see, what did Clement Clark Moore look like in 1823. So we have a copy of a pastel portrait from Bristol, England on display also above the desk.
So in the living room where we are now, there's a gorgeous tree with all these moons. Tell me about the tie-in with the moon.
Okay, so the moons are also on loan to us, and it's all on our American tree. So it's full of cornucopias, dolls, toys, toy horns, ornaments, and then obviously the American flag. So it really gives the idea that, this is an American story. Typically here in Odessa, we'll do like an English story or from children's literature. So these moons, I think, really lend themselves perfectly to the tree because, again, it's the night before Christmas. So they are actually little candy containers. So just like the cornucopias that are on the tree, the sort of the pointed cone-shaped ornaments that would have been full of candies, these also would have been full of candies.
So all of the pieces that you've brought together, whether they are original to the house or lended to you, they all have some kind of history that kind of blends really well to the theme of each room.
Yes, definitely. Sort of like the mantle swags. The mantle is decorated with leaves, golden leaves, and then gold sleigh bells. So, it's St. Nicholas. It's the sleigh bells. It's the eight reindeer. So it's all about, the story.
So this would be indicative of the time, the kinds of decorations that you might find in a house like the Corbett Sharp house back in the day.
Yeah, possibly. Not in its earliest time, but in Victorian times, 19th century, sure. Bringing in greens, bringing in magnolia, bringing in pine cones. I mean, that is definitely 'tis the season.
Now, before we leave this room, I have to ask you a little bit about the portrait of the woman over the fireplace. Who is that?
Okay, she's part of our Historic Odessa Foundation collection. She is Mary Bedford, and she is just a society portrait of the 18th century, and she's from Newcastle, Delaware. But I thought her color of her costume fit really well with the window treatments and the upholstery of the furniture that I've selected for this room.
Now, there is so much more to this "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" exhibit here at Historic Odessa, and we're going to check it out when we return.
Hi, my name's Carl Ramsey from Ramsey's Farm. We love to see things grow on the 302.
Welcome back. The first room was "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and now we are in the dining room for Christmas Day, the feast for the family. Brian Miller, thank you so much for joining us again. Tell us a little bit about the symbolism. Not only do we have artifacts from all over the place to bring this story to life, but there's a lot of symbolism in what you have on the table.
Sure. Of course, Santa now, or St. Nicholas, has arrived. So the family has gathered around the table, and I've placed things for our docents so they can tell the story very easily just by simply looking in the room. And we believe that our guests will be able to do the same. So Clement Clark Moore in the poem mentions that, St. Nicholas, his cheeks were like roses. So on the sideboard, there are roses. On the table, as you mentioned, there are cherries, because they're mentioned because his nose was like a cherry. And there's jelly is also on the table because he describes him as when his his belly shook like jelly.
Whenever he would laugh,
Yes.
very exuberant,
Yeah,
the image
good.
of Santa.
Everyone knows all the lines, so it's wonderful. And then another little detail that I liked was that, St. Nicholas was originally a bishop. So on the table are folded napkins in the shapes of bishop's hats. So I think that, kind of lends a little detail that our guests will really enjoy when they come to visit us.
And it's all about the details. Talk to me a little bit about just how laborious it is to bring together such an amazing display every year, year after year.
Well, thanks a lot. This is my 18th year, so I'm really honored to work here, and really, I think it's amazing that they trust me with this whole collection and everything, and to create these wonderful displays. So generally, it starts in February when I start researching all of the stories that are on my short list. Then I announce the possible exhibit to the staff in March and get their approval. And then, all summer long, I'm looking for items, little props, things that were gonna flesh out the story and bring it to life. And then obviously all of the research starts right away then in March. So I'm working, 8-10 months on the exhibit. And then to transform the house takes just about 8 days.
Wow.
So we move the furniture first, we put things away that are breakable, and then we bring in Christmas, and then we bring in all of the loan items.
So when you come for a visit, this is in so many different rooms, and we keep talking about "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" and a visit from St. Nick. You have so many different versions of St. Nick. When you go into the back room, into what is the kitchen of the house, talk to me a little bit about, just the variety of St. Nicks that you have back there.
Right. All of, there are so many immigrants from all different countries here in America. So German American immigrants, Dutch immigrants, English immigrants. They're all bringing their traditions with them here to America. So we have belsnickels, the St. Nicholas. We have the traditional American, as we know, red-suited older man with a long white beard, Santa Claus.
Where did that come from, by the way? Because when you look at the Santas, he is pretty much by himself. They don't all look like that.
Right. He has definitely evolved over the years. And some people credit the Coca-Cola company for sort of really giving it the plumpness of his body and his red suit from head to toe and the long white beard.
So another thing in the kitchen that's really cool are the cookie presses. And let's face it, what are the holidays without some cookies? Tell me about those presses.
Yeah, amazing cookie presses, cookie molds. We have period ones, we have newer ones, all different sizes and shapes. There are over 50 different ones, and they have the sort of the origins of the Pennsylvania Dutch, and sometimes they're called Springerly cookies.
Okay.
And then also with the cookies, we have a collection of chocolate molds.
Oh, nice.
So you'll notice that the cookie molds are wood, and then the chocolate molds are metal, and they're two sides, and the chocolate is poured in.
So would the cookie just be pressed in and baked that way, or would you press it in and then hope that it comes out and pop it in the oven?
Yeah, you have to get it out because you don't want the press to burn.
Oh, that'd be a Christmas surprise
Yeah.
for sure. So one of the things that's kind of humorous that's on the back wall is a wool beard. It's like a Santa suit you have there. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. There are two different Santas represented, one in a green coat lined in fur, and then his sack is not the traditional red sack that we're all familiar with today, but instead it's like a backpack. Because Clement Clark Moore in the story mentions the Santa, it's as if he's opening his pack like a peddler. So peddlers who roamed the streets, maybe here in Odessa, merchants and so on, they would have had a pack like that. So the one that you're mentioning is the later version where it's the red suit and the white beard and mustache and obviously a red hat.
Well, I think no matter what version of Santa Claus you go with, they're all filled with joy and bring so much light to Christmas. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about more of the symbolism you'll see when you come to visit this exhibit at Historic Odessa. We'll be right back.
My name is Ryan Grover, and I'm with Rockwood Park and Museum, and for things that are truly spooky, I go to the 302.
Welcome back. We have moved into the children's room, and Brian, this is so beautiful. You really get the Christmas spirit when you come in here, and there's a special theme to this room, right?
Sure. Thanks so much for all your compliments, by the way.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, well, thanks again. So this room is all in the spirit of red and white, and it's all about the children who are nestled in their beds, and they're dreaming of all of the sugar plums. And by the way, most people think it's a plum covered in sugar, but actually it just is a generic term meaning it's all candies and cookies and confections and anything to do with anything that a child would love that has sugar. So the room is all about red and white, from the red and white bows to the red and white strings of popcorn and cranberries to the candy canes all throughout the tree.
Now, I know the candy canes are on trees to this day. I have them on my house, although you certainly wouldn't want to eat them because they're so old. But why do we use a candy cane as a decoration?
It goes back to medieval times and earlier. It's believed. A lot of these things are hard to pinpoint, but it's kind of just a tradition or a symbol. So a candy cane is traditionally used as a symbol for the shepherds who come to visit, obviously the birth of Jesus, but then also they believe that it's representing the staff of St. Nicholas.
It really is interesting history when you come and you learn and you see it. So what about the garlands of popcorn? I mean, back in the day, did people actually eat these garlands?
I think possibly in the end, I'm not sure how they would have tasted, but their decorations didn't last as long as ours do. Even some traditions are that the tree was only set up the night before Christmas.
Wow.
So, they're not lasting weeks and months and, like we do today. But, imagine kids sitting around popping the corn, stringing the corn. I mean, this is great fun. And you said your family did this as well?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Mine did too.
Yeah, we also made gingerbread houses, and you have an amazing gingerbread display. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so that obviously goes along with the sugar plums idea. So, we have some faux gingerbread houses and, in our collection. So it's obviously the best time of year to bring those out. So I imagine that these children with their cupboard, they're not dreaming of their books and their studies. They're home from school, obviously, and their cupboard is just full of candies and sweets and these great gingerbread houses.
Now, when we talk about all of the decorations, when we go into the parents' room, what strikes me are the oranges.
Okay, yes. This is the first year I've done this where the whole theme in that room is the orange. And the orange color looks so great with the verdigris wall that's in that room. But similar to the candy cane, it's believed that an old symbol of St. Nicholas is the orange. So we have orange slices in garlands, there are oranges sitting on the tea table, and then they're just oranges used as the decoration. And I've brought out collection items in the museum's storerooms of things that are orange. So we have a chintz bed quilt or a chintz bed covering that has the oranges, not an orange, but the orange color. And so I just brought out things to really go along with that. Like this room is all red and white.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you talk about this room, you have all these toys. They're so cute. Are these part of the collection, or were these some of the things that were loaned to you for this exhibit?
We only have a few toys in our collection. I mean, generally, we don't have toys so much in this 18th century time period of this house. But then, we have collectors who have graciously lent us items. So it really fills out the room and really brings, again, the story to life.
It certainly does. And when you look around at the different items, it gives you the Christmas spirit. It must have really filled you up to put this together.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people ask me, well, then do you decorate at your own house, or are you just over it? No, I can, because I get a couple weeks in between, so I'm ready to go at it again and then do my own house. And kind of an interesting thing, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I was actually born on St. Nicholas Day.
Well, happy birthday to you then, or belated birthday, actually.
Oh, well, thank you.
I wanted to ask you about the feather tree. When you come in, it's one of the first things that you see on the staircase, and it's really kind of remarkable.
Yeah, it's very unusual. We have it on loan. It's a tall feather tree, and on it are scrap ornaments where families would get together before Christmas, cut out things from catalogs, get scraps. These are like illustrations, pictures of a St. Nicholas or little girls, toys, animals, and then they use like a tinsel and then they glue it on and then they make all these ornaments. So it's really wonderful. It is just chock full of scrap ornaments.
Something that the whole family can enjoy, kind of like making a memory. Isn't that what Christmas is about anyway?
Definitely.
Now, when you come up to the Corbett Sharp house, there are reindeer on the roof, is that right?
Well, there are reindeer on 9 windows on wreaths.
Oh.
Of course, in Clement Clark Moore's story, there are 8 reindeer. Well, I had 9 windows, so you know who then the added reindeer in the 20th century would be.
Rudolph.
Rudolph, yeah, definitely. And then someone said to me, well, you should add his girlfriend too. Well, I don't have
Wait,
10...
Rudolph has a girlfriend?
Her name's...
Wait, breaking news.
Her name's Clarissa.
Oh.
And so, of course, I don't have 10 windows. So anyways, he's, sort of the main one. But
She's with us in spirit.
Yes. And then on the door is that old style pack. And then we have a Belsnickel Santa on that as well. So as soon as you walk up to the front of the house, you see the reindeer, obviously, and that red and white striped theme for the candy canes, and it just sort of brings it all together.
It certainly does. Brian, thank you so much for sharing this with us.
You're more than welcome. It was a pleasure.
We'll be right back. Are you enjoying the show? Well, if you visit Historic Odessa, make sure you snap a picture and share it with us on Facebook. Now, here are some other things you might want to check out. For more information on Historic Odessa, visit historicodessa.org. That'll do it for this week's episode of The 302. Make sure you follow us on Facebook for more behind-the-scenes content you're just not going to get anywhere else. We're going to leave you now with a beauty shot of downtown Lewis at Christmas time. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on The 302.